So some people refer to probates or succession. So in simple terms, the probate or succession process is where when someone dies, there has to be a legal mechanism to transfer their assets to whoever the rightful heirs or legatees are. So the probate process in Louisiana, the way I've always explained it is that there's kind of three steps. There's the first step where if there's a will, we'll file a petition to open the succession and file the will, file the death certificates, and there's some affidavits. There's then a second stage whereby we literally need to describe or identify, describe, and value all of the assets. And that's really the most time-consuming phase. When people say, well, why would I pick a particular firm, to do succession? The answer, I think, is that you really want somebody, once again, that's board certified. Not only am I board certified expert in estate planning, I actually have a tax specialty, a master's in tax law, and there's a lot of tax implications that come in that a general attorney that doesn't have those qualifications isn't going to know. They're not even going to know that what they don't know that could have a big impact on you. So we understand, we work with so many widows and widowers through the last 2 decades. We understand what you're going through. Unfortunately, us guys tend to die first statistically. So we have a lot of widows out there, and, you lose your husband who's been the patriarch and oftentimes the business owner, and the poor wives are just really feeling lost. They don't know what to do. Who can they trust? Are they going to be okay? And we help them with that. It's not just the legal paperwork. It's understanding what you're going through and trying to take as much of that burden off of you as possible by clearly explaining things to you, by setting flat fees, which we do for most of the work that we do. It's a fixed-based fee so that you're not sitting there wondering how much it's going to cost. We have internal processes where we actually have timelines for most of the lines of business that we do so that, we're not dragging this thing out. Unfortunately, a lot of law firms will still charge by the hour, and I've always felt that that's not in the client's interest often, because it's in the attorney's interest to try to drag things out. And I've heard stories of successions that have gone on for years and years and years. And it's one thing if there's litigation there. I mean, it can definitely take a lot of time, but it really shouldn't take that long if you have somebody that knows what they're doing. I know internally, even if we have a federal estate tax return that's due, we try to close our successions out at no longer than a year. If there's no federal estate tax, our internal goal is we try to actually get those closed out within 6 months of the date of death or when we were hired. So the last piece of the succession that winds up getting done is just a judgment of possession, and that's the court order that transfers the assets that formerly belonged to the person that died to, if he had a will, his legatees, or if he didn't have a will, it's the heirs of the succession. And that kind of typically closes the succession, puts everybody into ownership, and however that's going to look, whether it's a trust or individually, and really kind of closes it out to transfer all the assets.